So as you're laying back, let's begin to allow our lungs to really extend outward. So we're trying to breathe our ribs outward into the fabric. And just that nice, relaxed, long exhale. Take a few rounds, trying to see if you can really feel yourself breathing outward in all directions. Good. This breath helps to calm us and energize us, giving us energy, giving us health, healing, wellness, all sorts of goodies that we need. So as we're preparing to head into our beautiful class today, we have just a very simple intention to keep on the back of our mind. That intention is the idea of imagining that different emotions that we haven't been able to process as we've gone through life, imagine that those are kind of trapped in different muscle groups. So as we try to stretch areas all over the body, imagine that as you're getting really deep in certain areas, maybe there's kind of a past emotion trapped in that area. So when you get to those deep sensations in our stretches, just imagine, okay, as I sit here and as I give myself permission to breathe and try to relax deeper into this area, imagine it's like, okay, now we're letting it process when maybe in the past we weren't ready to process that emotion. So we're giving ourselves space to open up ever deeper, deeper than maybe we ever have before. And so that's the idea we can keep in the back of our mind as we travel forward. So with that idea, let's begin to take some of our initial stretches. Let's take the arms all the way to the back wall. And then let the shoulders go all the way right. And all the way left. It's a really good chance to stretch out left and right. It's getting us into our ribs, into our shoulders, all sorts of goodies. So you choose the speed. Just listen to your body. Kind of imagining we're stretching any of those tight, restricted things out. And when your body knows it's ready to move on, bring yourself back through the middle, hug your hands around the right knee. As you pull that one in, maybe we're doing a few ankle rolls, starting to loosen up any tightness through that right hip flexor. And right leg gets to stretch up to the sky. Give it a chance to let all those muscles on the back side of the leg get their first real stretch together today. Another good inhale. And let's begin to pull this leg in toward us, cross it over to the left, all the way past that fabric so that our ankle hooks like kind of by where the fabric ends by our ears. So hook it on that back left part. And then once you've got it hooked, start to slide the shin in. This is almost like a pigeon pose while we're laying on our backs. Sliding that shin in, this gives our hips that first chance to open. Just listen for how deep is appropriate for that hip. If you're not feeling anything, invite it closer. If it's pretty intense, you can always go further back. Good, another deep inhale. Exhale, free out this leg. Maybe I'll give it another little stretch up before I drop it down. And from there, hug the second knee inward. Maybe some ankle rolls, or maybe you're really trying to pull it in as tight as possible. Imagining we could get that thigh to touch the waist. And when you're ready, leg is welcome to stretch up to the sky. For me, this is always one of those deepest stretches. When I get toward calf and hamstring, it's like, oh, I always feel it. Always needs that little bit of attention. Breath in and out. Continue to slide this leg until it hooks on that back right part. The knee swiveling up to the side. Continue to hook your arm around that shin to pull it in. Deep breath flowing for us, just enjoy it. Wonderful. Inhale. Exhale. And from there, bring out the leg. Maybe you give it that last hug up to the sky before dropping it. Allow the feet to kick free off the front end. And then hands will help us to sit upward. From sitting up, I'm going to give you two options. Option one would be a simple back bend. So just slide the hands down, take a nice arch backwards. Option two would be the inversion. You bring the fabric to the back side of the pant line, and then you lean back, grabbing on. From there, the last step is bringing your legs wide to wrap all the way around at the ankles before releasing. Yep, just like that. So your choice, either way, whatever seems like the body would love the most. Yeah, you'll notice if it's not quite at the right spot, just try again. You'll get it to that spot that works. Yep. For me, it's almost the lower the better. Yeah, as you're heading back, I'll kind of keep on pushing until I'm already like locked it in place. And then, yep. Good. Yep, that's it. And legs wide and wrap. So just a little reminder for my rule for inversions, don't feel like you're competing with anybody. You're just listening to your own body. So as long as this still feels good, I'll give you plenty of time to just enjoy the chance to hang. If anything feels like it's time to head out, then you're welcome to do that without needing any necessary indication from me. Just whenever it's up to you. That part to the side. Absolutely, you can hang, go in and out a few times if the head just needs a little break. To reset. Oh, okay, yeah. You take a couple of extra grips or whichever you need. Yeah. So we're getting to that point. Most people are up. If you're still upside down, feel free to take the last couple of breaths, maybe 4 or 5 good cycles. Don't feel rushed, but you'll eventually start to head out. When you're out, just take that floating child for a moment. Sometimes it's nice for that low back to just let your shoulders drape close to the thighs. Head dropping down. We'll begin to stack our spine back upright. Take hands onto the inside. Our right thigh comes in. And we're trying to clasp hands around the ball of the foot, or if that's kind of a reach, you can always go for the ankle or shin instead. We lean back just a hair to counterbalance the weight of our leg as we kick right leg up to sky. Give it the best stretch it's willing to take right now. Good. Another deep breath in. And exhale, cross this thigh over the other one. Bunch up your fabric to your right side. Your left hand will continue to hold onto that. Right arm reaches that back wall. It can also circle all the way around the back side of the head if you want to try for that. Beautiful. Release. Uncross the knees. Take the fabric up to about the armpits as you lean back, and then hands take the weight of the head. Legs straighten. We're going to go for 5 leg lifts. So legs up as high as you can possibly bring them, and then all the way back down. 4. Exhale. And lower. 3. 2. Last 1. Good. Once the legs are back down, we're sitting up. Left leg comes to the inside. Hands can reach around the ball of the foot or maybe a little bit lower down the leg. And when you're ready, lean back a hair so that you can try to straighten the leg up. Good. As you release, this thigh crosses over the other. Bunch up the fabric on your left side. This time it's the left arm that reaches to the back wall or circles around the head. Good. And as we release, you can either take the same option laying all the way back, or you can make it more difficult by balancing in a boat pose, legs trying to straighten out. Either way, we're going to try to go for 5 leg lifts as high as you can get and then lower. So exhale and in. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good work. So from here, just grab the fabric on the side that will face you toward me the easiest. It could be left or it could be right for you. Straighten your arms out to that side. And then the leg that just got lifted up a little bit, take that leg up and over. Good. Take your time. Sometimes it takes a little while, but when you're there, take heels inside. And allow the legs to open out nice and wide. Arms pressing the fabric wide. We're getting that good inner thigh stretch. Maybe there's a new emotion or a new story that's trapped in this area. Those inner thighs. Try to engage the core sitting up tall. That brings the hips into a holding placement so the inner thighs can stretch nice. Good, so now tuck the left foot into the middle. So it's just kind of swinging in. And then right hand will slide down right leg. Stack the shoulders and then left arm goes up and over to that right side also. Rising up. Let's switch the legs out. So now right is tucked in, left is straightening again. When you're there, lean to that left side. And then the opposite arm comes up and over also. Then when we sit all the way back up tall, bring the bottoms of both feet together. You can either rest the forehead forward or the back of the head backwards. Just a nice meditative seat, a couple of breaths. This is a great chance to tune into the body. What areas of our body have spoken to us already in class up to this point? Sometimes there's this kind of intuitive knowing. It's like, oh, chronically, this area of my body has always been problematic. So it's like, is the body trying to tell us a story through that physical means? I tend to think that pains that happen in the body are manifested physical very last. So it's like that mystery, that question to solve. What is my body trying to tell me through what I'm feeling physically? Take 2 more breaths, this chance just to be relaxed. Then we'll start to kick the legs off of each side again. We're back to the straddle. So here we'll take a couple of bonus stretches. The leg that's facing toward the mirror, you're going to take that leg up and onto the fabric that's in front of you. So it's setting up for another hip opener. So do it to the mirror segment. Good. So the higher the leg is, the easier it is on the knee. The more square it is, the deeper. If you want to make it even deeper, you can hug and invite the heart in closer. If you know that you're touching on a good spot for your body, just stay. Otherwise, here we can try to take our that front foot, the arch of the foot onto the fabric, and then start to straighten it all the way up. This will begin to transition the muscles that are experiencing it. So if it's ever too intense, just keep your arm pushing. If you want it to go deeper, you'll start to back your hands away. That'll make the fabric pull ever deeper into it. Good, another inhale. Exhale, that leg will drop down. Second shin up. And again, you choose the intensity. And if you really need the easiest for the knee, that would be actually tucked in all the way close. That would be the very easiest. There's kind of that intermediate transition phase right in between. So just listen to the body. It'll tell you what spot is perfect to get nice and deep. Sometimes I like the rocking. If it's ever too crazy, you can kind of lean back and spread out wide, and that'll get you stopped. I like it too, though. Again, if your body knows this is the perfect stretch, just stay. Otherwise, transition the foot onto the fabric and try to straighten it upward. Another good inhale. Exhale. And then begin to free this leg to the mirror side, so that will help you to face toward me again. The hips are off center, so just shift left, right a couple of times until you're facing forward. And then let's play with one of my favorite vampire pose variations. So first we have to get the vampire set up. So the fabric that's behind you, you're taking a good layer so that it completely covers over the shoulders, but doesn't have a ton of excess. The excess would push into the neck uncomfortably. So you're taking just enough to cover like a full cap sleeve. And then your elbows are helping to push any excess fabric into your waist. So once you're there, lay back. So you should have a bunch of extra at your waist at that point. So when you step the feet in where the fabric is under the thighs right now, then you're going to lift hips up like bridge pose and then straighten the legs out. So that should have taken all that excess fabric down toward your feet. So hips up and then straighten the legs. Good. Now with that excess, you're going to cover the right foot and left foot is going to be free on top of it. So right foot covered, left foot free. Make sure you've still got a good amount of fabric to completely cover shoulders. That's our safety. That's what's going to be holding us up. So then reach your hands up, grip onto the fabric. With that grip, notice you're bunching a little bit of the fabric up. That's perfect because as we start to lift the legs up, we can push our feet outward into the spot that we just bunched up. So we're not wrapping, it's pushing with a little notch right after your heel ends. You're pushing that outward into the fabric. Once you've got that push, continue to lift all the way upside down. Good work. Core is engaged. Good. And you can even straighten all the way up. It's still safe. Good. So what we're going to do here, you can go past the knots if you're a tall one. You can go past the knots and keep on going up. Yep, there you go. So, and on the end, make sure your shoulders are completely covered. It looks like you might pop free in just a moment. Yeah, so go back down for a moment, recover, and come back up. Good. Okay. Okay, so from here, your foot that's inside the fabric, drop it down in front of your chest. And there'll be a point where suddenly you can like grab your toes on the fabric all the way down, like a full 90-degree angle. So once that's down in front of you, then your other foot can go all the way to the floor. Sometimes that first time you do it, it's a trust game, but trust me, you'll make it safe. Yep, so first the closed foot and then the other one's on the floor. Good work. Once you touch down, you're going to sink your weight backwards, so it's like a split. The toes in the fabric can be pointed or flexed. It's whatever's more comfortable for your toes. Good. So if any of you want more, you can come forward, hop forward a little bit, and then that'll give you more space to sink backwards. but you don't have to do that. It's only the degree that probably your body's already telling you, oh, this is good. So just find that perfect amount. Let's take another 4 or 5 breaths here. A deep inhale, exhale, and one more. Good. Okay, so if you popped free, you can try to put your shoulders back inside, or you can just step out and come back in. That's fine also. We're all gonna roll all the way back in to switch sides. So if you hopped forward, bring that standing foot under your hip again. To roll all the way back in, the toes that are in the fabric, start to push into that. That'll lift your hips up over your shoulders and then continue to roll all the way back inside. Yeah, take all those steps away from your fabric and then, yeah, take like 5 or 6 grips. Maybe take a couple bonus so you're at the end. Good. Those of us that are inside, switch the feet out. So now it should be right foot that's free. And sometimes that's fun when that happens because then it helps you know about how much to cover your shoulders with, so that way you're still completely there. But anyways, we should have right leg free this time when we're there. So then hands grip up, feet come up, push the feet out into that spot that we just gathered, and then rise. If you're tall, even rise past the nuts. No rush, take every step, you're doing good. When you do get there, you're welcome to start dropping that left foot to the space in front of your chest. So the one that's clothed first, the one that's in that fabric. That's it, you got it. And then you're safe to drop that naked foot all the way to the floor. Good, one more. So bring the closed foot first, there you go, you got it. Okay, sink backwards, get that good stretch. And this is one of my favorites because it's like, how much can I let gravity take over? It's not me having to hold myself up so much as how much can I just relax into the stretch. Nice inhale, exhale, and one more, all the way in and out. Good. Heading back in, make sure your weight is over that standing leg, and then the fabric, the foot in the fabric will push into it. That'll lift hips up, we can roll in. And from here, if anybody still wants a little bit more time with normal vampire, it doesn't matter if the feet are inside or outside the fabric, just give yourself a little bit more play time to just invert. I love vampire for that massage you get right on the shoulders. Body weight just pushing down into it. If you're in a good amount of that inverting, don't feel like you have to. You can always take some of those stretches we started with. And in this one, if you're doing a lot of rocking, kind of the only way to stop it would be to do that flip, but try to come back into this position with like a little bit more core. That core will be what keeps it really good. So it looks like with this class we're almost all complete. So if you're still in vampire, take just a couple more breaths. Make sure everything feels good, feels balanced. You'll just continue to lay here as your body recovers. You'll let me know when you're pretty good with your recovery by starting to come all the way up to sit, but don't feel rushed. This is you listening to your body. This is kind of like a way for you to communicate with me how you're doing. Very good. You've got two options to come out. You can either grip the fabric and just lift the hips up and out, or I'll call it the fun way, but it might be the scary way. That would be to lift the legs up and then continue to float all the way out. So it's up to you, whichever one you want to try to take. If you're doing the flip, grip on really hard. Good work. Okay, let's have the fabric out in front of us. Grip on about as wide as shoulders. And then let's give ourselves a chance to just let the upper body go forward. As you relax down, sometimes this position is already perfect. Sometimes I like to do little wiggles. So you could do side to side wiggles. You could do cat-cow wiggles, kind of rounding up and down. You could kind of imagine that your spine is like water in a water bottle and it's just kind of swishing around. So kind of find whatever angles feels really good to help the body out. Inhale, exhale, bend the knees and roll all the way up. We'll take our right thigh inside the fabric. Once you're there, make sure you're not standing too far back. It's like when you gaze up, it looks like your head is just 2 or 3 inches behind plumb line, but not far back at all. I like to take flat hands on the fabric. That helps me feel like I'm not just, holding on with a death grip. So flat hands, thumbs can hug around, start to sink your hips forward. I love this for the stretch that I get on the front of that left hip. Some people also get it on that back calf. The heel kind of relaxes down. So it's really up to you how you shift forward or backward to get into either of those spots. Good. Body weight back. Let's shift the fabric to the ankle. From the ankle, this is already a pretty tight spot. So some of us will just be sliding the hands down, trying to invite the heart closer to the thigh. And some of us will be sliding the hands up to take more of a splits forward. So it's up to your body which version would be helpful right now. And sometimes just balancing is about where you're at right there. Like a pretty tight one. Inhale, exhale, bring your weight over your standing leg. You can either step this leg out, step the other one in, or the swinging switch. You want to try to keep the leg straight. So from that straight leg, you can just step one foot in and the other foot out. If you bend the knee, you'll just kind of turn it into a swing instead. You got it, that'll work. Oh. So when we're on the second side, just drop it down to the thigh. Flat hands high, thumbs hug around. Start to sink your weight forward. Like hello, psoas. Good. Weight shifts back, slip down to the ankle. So that chance again, maybe we're just dropping the heart down, or perhaps instead we're sliding up to take the splits. Huge stretch for us either way. Good. Coming back. Maybe we take a swinging switch just for fun. Otherwise, we're going to end up out of it anyways. So it's up to you if you want to practice that swinging switch or just step all the way out. Awesome. Shake your hands for a moment. We're going to use them. Make sure they're feeling good for us. So this next one, we wrap our hands like a big hug around the fabric. curl them in through the center and then wrap them around just once. From that grip, we're gonna practice the first part of this. Some of us might, this is one that incrementally will get harder and harder. So step one, that is just trying to practice our little curling up with the knees and then slowly dropping down. When I drop down, I open my hands to give my hands a little break. So let's try a couple of those, just see how that one is for us. Good. The more slow we take it, the more our core is having to work. So let's take maybe 2 or 3 more of those. Make sure you're flowing with breath. I like to do exhale to come up, inhale to lower. Good. So if that's going pretty easy for us, you might be ready for 2, which would be trying to do a flip. So from that grip, I'm going to then flip up. I straighten my arms into that little drop, and then I kind of lower my hips right onto the fabric. From there, you can just come right on out. And you'll practice that a couple of times. So you've hugged around, you try to lift your knees up. So sometimes I'll kind of do like a momentum lift, and then I'm flipped right onto my hips to come out. Okay? Good. Yep, you can always grab your toes and then use that to help you. Nothing wrong with that at all. Good, good. Yep. So the only thing I would do differently, if I straighten my arms when I go backwards, that helps me not be awkward for the elbows. So, but yeah, besides that, you got it. Good. Yeah, that worked out really well. Good. Okay. So you're welcome to stop at that step and just practice that a couple more times. If you're doing the last one, we're gonna then go to Superman. So know that this one depends on where the fabric lands for us. If it gets right across my hip bones, then it feels good and I can put my weight into it. If it ends up more in the belly or like too low or anything, you wanna just come out just like you were just a moment ago. So this one, after I've done the flip, I set the fabric right across my hip bones. So I'm keeping this kind of twisted grip. So from here, I can straighten out like Superman. Maybe you even do a couple of little crunches, just in and out. And you're welcome to come out. Okay, so a couple of those. And again, you can stop at the last step that we did too. Nothing wrong with that. So same flip, and then you'll set it down onto your hip bones. Good. One round foundation. Try to see if your hand can go a little lower. Okay, that might help. Yeah, it doesn't have to be super high. Yep, see like that? You got it. Yeah, there you go. Same thing here. Try to, like, it seems like you should go up here, but try to go like right, like, yep, just like that. And then from here, like even use your legs to, yeah. I know it's getting hard, but it's just, that comes from using the core a couple of times. It's all good. It's all good, yeah. And you also have the option, if you're ready for an inversion by this point, when you do the flip, you can just drop down and stay in a hip hang. Just kind of enjoy that for a little while. If it ever doesn't land quite right, you can drop for a moment, readjust your skin, and then go back into it. So that would be an optional inversion if that's what you're ready for right now. If that skin right across the hips is a little tight too, you can always just do some of those little, just let me know that you're good just by hanging out. And if anybody's too warm, I can open up the back door, so let me know. This is getting us, good body temperature right now. Good. And if you've been upside down and you need a little break, feel free to lean back into the fabric for a minute. That'll give our head a chance to readjust. And those that are still in the hip pain, just enjoy it. There's no pressure. I'm just gonna guide us through just a couple of simple shoulder stretches for those of us that are leaning back already. So you can try to clasp your hands behind your back and see if your arms will pull away from your glutes. And sometimes while I'm doing that, I'll tilt my head to one side and then the other. Just kind of helping to exaggerate that stretch. Yes. And then walking forward just a hair. We can try to do the opposite, kind of clasping our hands, maybe even flipping up, and then try to arch a little bit. But this is more about the shoulders for me than the back bend. It's more about trying to get the pecs and the shoulders to really stretch that way. Good. And I like to have the fabric under my shoulder blades here, so if you need to readjust where it is, that's okay. But then let's walk ourselves forward until our hips are under plumb line, and then drop our weight down. So this gives our legs a chance to get some stretches. I'm gonna let this be free form. So some of us might be taking twists left and right. Some of us might take an ankle onto the thigh, opening up to a hip stretch. You could even kind of do like frog leg circles, just letting everything go loose. So whatever it is that's feeling helpful for our body. Just a little while longer, so make sure you get both sides evenly. When it feels like everything's even, feel free to straighten the legs and continue to walk back until you're standing up all on your own. Good. Let's walk forward toward the other end of our mat, turn around and face the fabric. We're gonna grab the fabric, wave it out as if we're going to Shavasana, but it's gonna be slightly different than normal. So once you've got it waved out, turn around, hook your thumbs. And when you head into the fabric, you're only taking enough fabric to have one thin layer up the thighs. So it's not a lot. It's just enough to sit into it. Good. So this is gonna feel funky getting into it, and it's gonna be funky to see me, so just do whatever you can do. But you're actually gonna take the fabric behind you and bring it through the inside. And then once you've got it all the way over your head, you'll take your heels inside so that you've got a forward fold set up. So just kind of dangle your arms. If your knees need to be bent or even like purposely go wide, that can be great. Maybe you're letting yourself try to work on straightening the legs. It's really up to your body to know that perfect placement. Yep, you just end up in a good forward fold. Be conscious of what's going on in your body, imagining if any tight emotions are trapped in these areas. Give it another couple of breaths to help it have an opportunity to maybe get a little bit lessened. Good. And then the transition here is kind of funky, so we'll just be playing around with it until we get it just right. The idea is we need to walk our elbows inside the part that's kind of by our hips right now. And little by little, you're gonna walk your hips out And then let the fabric be caught kind of in your elbow area. So it feels super funky to get there. Eventually your arms can kind of straighten out when you're there and you're just kind of dangling your hips down. Yeah, so I like to straighten the arms up so it's a good, easy way to grip. It kind of brings the fabric back under the shoulder blades ultimately. Good. I know it's kind of funky, so if it, just keep on walking the glutes out and just capture your shoulders inside. Good. For me, the more I can release the muscular effort, the better I feel the stretch here. You got it. So now let's add just a couple of fun things here. Free the right foot out. Right foot is hovering right above the ground. Let's lift that right foot 5 times, so up as high as you can, and down. 4, 3, yep, you can always use that foot to readjust. 2, 1. Now bring this right knee up, bend the knee, and send your body to kind of like a twist over to the left. Yeah, so twisting hips, twisting everything, yep. And that knee's kind of just twisting over. Good. Beautiful. Hips back through the center, hook this right heel, free out the left foot. Hovering above the ground. Take a lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And bring that left knee in, bending it. Twist the bent knee over to the right. Good. Unwind, both heels are in. And then take a tight grip. Start to free out the shoulders. We're gonna slowly lower glutes all the way down to the ground. And ultimately, we're just laying down. Good. It's like your head disappeared for a second. Yeah. It's all good. Once you're here, just let your legs go left and right. Like it helps to rock out that low back area. You could even take the second end that was in your hands and take one of your feet into that side, kind of playing with left and right and the difference it is to have that freedom in each side. So just a couple of breaths to give us a chance to tune into what we're feeling in our system, in our bodies. Good. And maybe for some of us, our body knows, just hang out here for a little bit longer, playing with possibilities, maybe stretching one leg at a time and then putting it back in, doing things like that. Maybe some of us know that our body would love to have another inversion before we wrap up. So I'll guide the people that want to do that through the next inversion. Again, if anybody doesn't want to do the inversion, then you would just want to freeform, play with your body, stretch out here. That is absolutely safe. So up to you. If you're coming to the inversion, we'll go to straddle back. So we'll make our way all the way up. We'll end up with the fabric behind our back. And then our thumbs help the fabric to be guided right across the sacrum. So you're pushing the palms into the fabric to keep it there. One foot steps back. And then that, as we bend the knees, that helps us to lock the fabric right across the sacrum. We're leaning deeply into the fabric. Tiptoe 2 or 3 baby steps forward until we're back under plumb line. And then hands up, knees wide, wrap the legs. Completely release and just hang. For those inverting, this is going to be the last inversion of the day. So literally take as much time as you want. You could be here 5 minutes, you could be here 7 minutes, you just 2 or 3, whatever works for you, that's fine. Those that are doing stretches, Keep on enjoying stretches until your body tells you, yeah, I'm happy, that's good. You could take a laying Shavasana. You could take your normal Shavasana at any point. It's really up to you to explore until you get to that happy space where we can all just rest. Sooner or later, again, zero rush. There would just normally be another couple of minutes before we would head into Shavasana. But again, take any stretches or anything before, or just go straight into it. we'll begin to deepen our inhales, exhales. Beginning to introduce little movement back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Maybe stretching the body out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. A couple of wiggles of the shoulders left and right. Anybody wants a fetal position? You can keep your body long, but rock over onto the side body on one side. So one hip is on top of the other hip. And from there, you can curl in like a tight little ball and arc back, undulating through the spine a couple of times. Doing the fetal position after 2 or 3 on one side, maybe switch sides. You can do 2 or 3 to the other and even out the spine. Only when it all feels even, no rush, we'll eventually start to work our way up toward a seated place. So as we start to take our hands in front of our heart, we take this moment to scan through our body, searching for any little tidbits of wisdom we gained from our system. Maybe there's something about our practice today that helped us learn what's going on in our body. Maybe some tightness, maybe some of the strength stuff we practiced. We did stuff all over the system. So see if there's any kind of just intuitive knowing that perhaps energetically we should work on something, or perhaps physically we should do more or less of something. So whatever it is that our intuition taught us today, let's take that commitment that we will honor it and we'll try to make those little tiny changes in our life. So with this idea leading us toward greater health, toward greater healing, let's allow ourselves to wrap up the time we got to share together today with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.